House Talk. On Caribbean House Talk, we cover issues from funny to curious to tearfully serious. Today we have our special guest who's joined us. Her name is Karen Harry. She's from the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Why don't we start out by letting Karen pick our spicy dish topic today?
All right. Well, you know, the Trini ladies are hot and spicy. That's a hot island. So we'll have Miss Harry do
Okay.
honors.
Would you ever date a much younger man?
How much younger man?
Would you ever date a much younger man?
How much is younger? I have dated at least 2 younger men, but it wasn't crazy younger. It's not like 5 years younger. And I didn't really feel a difference. But if you're talking about me with my 50-something-year-old body trying to date somebody who's in their 30s or 20s, that's not going to happen. So the answer for me is I would date younger, but reasonably younger, not crazy.
No, I would not. I don't care if it's a month younger.
Really?
No.
What would a month younger difference
No.
would that make to you?
It's in my head. You're younger. That's just the word. The operative word here is younger. Let it go.
You want to be the young Philly in the relationship. You don't want to.
I don't want no little boy.
Little boy, but you're not a little boy, so somebody's a month younger than you, come at your age?
Yes,
Yeah.
and yes.
Okay.
I don't want it. That word younger.
When I was youngish, I would say that. But at my age, actually old, my age is where men are concerned, is old. If you try to talk about older than me, he's kind of old, and probably parts are not functioning.
No,
Like
I
I
don't
said
care about the
before.
parts. I don't care about the parts.
Okay.
Honestly, because I've had enough of that path to live the rest of my life without it.
3
So I
times a
ain't
week.
going down there. I'm not going there, okay?
Miss 3 times a week.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Okay.
I could
So
do without that.
okay. So, what about you, Karen?
Well, my ex-husband was 2 months younger than me.
Okay.
That didn't even click until some years. I'm like, wait a minute. But you know, I don't think it made that much of a difference. What I would say, like Trish is, if you're way younger, like I'm in my 50s too, and somebody in their 30s, you know, like my mother used to say, you are dating your son. So
Right.
that I would not do.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking 2 or 3 years younger, I don't think I have a problem with that.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
My max is 5. My max is 5. I wouldn't.
You know,
date
and according to
somebody
Trish, the
5
men
years
our age,
younger.
broken down, diabetes, sugar,
High blood pressure.
so
Issues.
all they want is for you to help them be the nursemaid.
Yeah.
And you know, I not every man,
I know.
but some of them. So
Yeah.
you know, I don't think I want to travel them.
And here's the thing, Karen. It's one thing if you are with the person and these things happen. But for me to go pick you up and you can't funds that, no.
Exactly.
For me to start a relationship with someone who I've never had the opportunity to have normal relations with, and I'm taking you up with your high blood pressure and the medication to make you impotent, and I don't know.
Well, what I'm
Unless you
saying,
get some Viagra and make it
Well-
function, I don't know.
if you're a woman who already have a relationship that lasted a long time, like in my case, personally, I will not do it, honestly. But if for somebody who really looking for a relationship and want that kind of thing, then go for it. But me coming out of a relationship that I'm in right now, and that gonna have to be some kind of that door spot thing, because I'm not leaving my husband for nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And that other person gonna really have to top him, and they have a very big shoes to fill.
Mhm.
But for me to go to that younger thing, I have to be like in another zone somewhere. I would not personally do it. I
Well,
can't
that's
do it. I
the
just
key
won't
word.
do
That's
it.
the key word. You would have to be in another zone. Right now, you're happily married. You've been with this one man for all these years. You're happy in your relationship. That's
Very.
different. But if you look at somebody like me, I'm in another zone. You know what I mean? And frankly speaking, I'd rather not date than I'm dating somebody who's a lot older and have those issues.
But then,
Now, ask me in 5 years, I probably don't even want to be bothered. So that person will probably be perfect for me. Because it would be like, that's all I need, somebody to travel with, somebody to go out to dinner with, somebody to talk to at night before I go to bed. And maybe at that point, that's all I will want. But right now, I want more than that.
because God forbid something have to happen to my marriage, that my husband is no longer with me, I don't think I would even want another man again.
You're thinking that now.
No, honestly, because I can't deal with it. I'm already accustomed to a certain lifestyle. I have my own way. I don't have to answer to nobody. I don't have to say where I'm going. I don't have to. It's not like I'm own way in any way or anything. But I'm in a very comfortable place right now, and I think if I go and if my husband is no longer there and that place is no longer what it used to be, I think if I have to go and start to turn over another page, it's gonna be about me, really, honestly, and I don't really think I would have space to accommodate a new relationship that I have to go and learn this person's ways, and I have to try to tiptoe around being who I am, and that's gonna really make things bad because I'm not accustomed to doing that. So I would really leave relationships alone. I might have a friend, I might go to dinner with somebody, yeah, but you're not going home with me and I'm not going home with you.
So you know what? Okay, so we're gonna bring it back to the younger man. I mean, I'm also married for a long time, so I can't even conceive of it realistically. However, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think if you're attracted to someone and they're attracted to you, that's fine. Now, yeah, age sometimes will come into play because there is a certain maturity level, that gets involved. 5 years is probably good.
5 years is
Who
my
knows?
cutoff.
Maybe even 10. But
5.
like Miss Karen said, you're not going to date your child. I don't want anybody, my daughter's age.
You understand me?
That's
My
fine.
daughter is 32 years of age. Me dating somebody in their 30s, that somebody could technically date her. And I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. So I'm not going to be somebody who said 1 month younger than, not even 1 month younger
Not
than.
even.
But I have a cutoff, and that's about 5 years.
Well, what I
Because I feel we're still within the same decade. You know what I mean? And it must be a mature person. At my age, if you're not mature at that, if a man 5 years younger than me, then
anyway.
mature. I'm not dealing with you anyway. But
I will definitely date someone younger than me because I feel pretty young, but that person has to be on the same page as me. Meaning they have to be financially stable. I'm not talking about that they have to have millions, but they have to have their things together. That person needs to be mature. Also, I am at a stage that I'm not thinking about having other kids. So let's say that the person is younger, 10 years younger than me, that will make him 33. Probably if he has his family, we will fit in because he already has his family and I'm not planning to have other kids. So if we are on the same page, I will definitely welcome that relationship.
But somebody who is younger and has never had children, would you date somebody who's younger and never had children?
If he doesn't want to have kids.
And you see, I'll be worried about that.
What
Because down the
is
road,
that? Would he
I
date
think-
you? If he knows that you have children and he's younger and if he's dating you, then it shouldn't matter, right?
You guys
let me
need
tell
a
you
corner
something.
potty
Let
each.
me tell you
I
something.
don't want to make all your own man because it's not there. It doesn't exist.
I'm gonna have to give a blanket statement, but here I wouldn't say it's not there. But here's what I would agree with her with: is that too often than not, people go into it with that idealistic thing, saying, "Well, it doesn't matter anyway." And down the road, some young filly who could give him a kid smiles at him pretty, and he gets her pregnant. And guess what? He's not gonna be stuck with this older woman who laid out her eggs.
So then,
and who can't give him a
Trish,
kid.
you know what? It's just dating.
It's just
so my
dating.
thing is, you deal with what it is. If somebody is trying to date you and they're 10 years younger or whatever, fine, date. And as
Or
as
just
the
have fun with
relationship develops, that's
just
it.
have fun.
And have fun with it. And as things get serious, you're gonna talk more about different things. But I say have some fun.
But then, while you're having fun, your heart is getting involved.
Yes, it is.
When that younger person think they have or feel they have enough of this older person, what do you think is going to happen? That person is gonna leave. They're gonna go. Or
They
they're gonna
may
have
or may
they're
not.
gonna-
They
they're
may or
gonna-
may
they
not. That's
will.
any
They will.
relationship.
Oh, but you
If
can't
a
say
man wants to
blanket
walk
rule.
away,
telling
he'll walk
you.
away no matter what.
They're likely to leave, but you
They're
can't
likely
say
to- They don't know
go.
that.
And you're gonna go. They're gonna go.
I
and
say,
then that's
listen,
part
me,
of
I would
yours.
have some fun. That's,
Okay,
that's the way I
But Alma
see it.
has a point. In that sometimes we're having fun, but we get caught. Women
Because we're
especially,
young.
we get
Yeah.
caught up.
Yeah, we
Get
get
as
it.
soon as
and then
it's
when
the
he's
younger
had enough
man-
of it, that's when you real and he's trying to pull away. That's when you were like, damn, I fell in love with this.
But
guy.
what if I'm the one who wants to pull away? It's
I was
not
gonna
always
say,
him.
Then that's different.
Maybe
Then
I
you-
want to
then
pull
you
away.
pull away.
And it doesn't matter whether
Pull
the man
away.
is 5, 10 years younger or if he's your age or 10 years older.
I'll admit
If he
some
wants to pull
experience.
away, he's going to pull away anyway.
But sometimes I think on a different level, you think differently because I listen to my kids and the conversations they have and the things that they do. I don't want to be in that space at my age. So I'm not looking for somebody in that time because what do we have in common and what are we going to talk about? I'll say, oh, you know, I like that song on the radio. They never heard that because it is not in their time. So those are the things that I would look at.
I will leave that young man alone.
I
will say that.
Each his own,
I
each his
walk
own.
away to each his own.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna touch it with a 20-foot pole. I'm not
No, I'm
touching
with
that.
Trisha.
I'm not
Well,
touching
you're
that.
a little bit,
Yeah,
you're a little
yeah,
too
I'm
skinny, but
surprised,
you're talking
yeah.
about
Because
1
it's-
month, which is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
It's
crazy.
not
At your age,
ridiculous.
come on.
I mean, I'm sorry. To me, it's ridiculous.
Why do I
I know to you it's serious, but
My ex-husband was 2
What
months
that
the
doesn't
young
matter.
month at your age, mate?
Why do I even need another man?
Well, I'm not saying you do.
No,
I'm
why do I
saying.
even need to go and date
Alma,
again?
Alma,
What
Let me
month
see
is your
this.
birthday?
Let me see
Huh?
this.
What month is your birthday?
August. I'm a Virgo.
Okay, so the person's born in July. You don't want to talk to them?
No.
That's
Okay.
crazy.
I'm not,
That
I'll talk to
doesn't
you,
make
but I'm not
sense.
dating you. I'm not.
Everybody would be
Irma, you should be very thankful that you are in a great relationship.
Yeah.
But
you
I
have
think
to work.
that
I am thankful.
when
I am.
you're outside, and I was married also for 17 years, and I was, and I think we were in love. And but when you get out of that relationship and you're looking for someone, your standards will not your standards, the way you think will shift.
Yes,
it
it
will
does.
change.
I am not going to be looking. I
You're
am.
not gonna
That's
say,
it.
oh,
That's
you're
it.
born in July. You can't
You
talk
can't
to
talk to me.
I'm not
That's
saying that
crazy,
you
huh?
can talk to me. I'm saying I'm not dating you.
Oh, no.
I'm not dating.
Well,
That's
thank
crazy.
God you're not
I
in that
am not.
situation.
Well, thank God,
guys.
yeah.
It's
Thank
easy
God.
to say stuff when you're not in the situation.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be almost into another century of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going there. I don't want it.
I think
Well,
everybody
come on,
needs
come on. Anyway,
love.
I'm just saying, a
we
month
did.
is ridiculous.
Yeah,
You want
that's
me make it
much
more
straight.
ridiculous a week because I know
Yeah.
I ain't dating no young man. Not even by a date.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on.
I don't want it. I don't want
So,
it.
who wants to pick out the next spicy
Plain
thing?
as plain.
Should pastors ever be forgiven for having affairs with church members? Okay.
I say no. And this is my take on it. I believe if you're a pastor, you have gone to school and this is what you want to do, and you are serving the Bible. You're here on the pulpit preaching to the congregation. This is how to live. This is what the words say. This is what you do. This is the honor. This is the moral. This is integrity. And then you do this. How do you stand up there and say that and be able to preach that way when you're doing this? So I don't think you should be forgiven. If you do something like that, you need to go.
But Karen, they'll say they're human.
Yes,
And the
I
church.
understand that.
Mhm.
I understand that. But if you are the pastor and you're going to say you're human, resign from the pastorship and have an affair or have a relationship with whoever you want. I'm not saying you can't have a relationship with somebody in the church. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying both of those things can go together. If you want a relationship, it's one or the other. You give up one and you have the relationship. You want to remain the pastor, you give up the relationship, but don't stop the relationship and be the pastor. I don't see how you could be in good faith and stand up on the pulpit and say, don't do this. The Bible says walk this way. Do this way. Do this way. And then secretly over here, I am doing something else.
But what do you say to those people who say a church is a microcosm of society? So the same like in society, you have people who are supposed to do something, but they don't do the right thing. Why do we expect these people to be gods? Why do we expect them to be perfect?
But then again, that is not what I'm expecting.
Mm-hmm.
I think you treat people the way you want to be treated is a personal rule that I live by.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it comes back to your integrity and how you look at it. You are the pastor of the church, and you are preaching this congregation. They're coming to you for whatever advice, whatever reason, whatever chapter, whatever verse you're teaching. how do you get up and say, do this? I think it's total hypocrisy. You can't do that. But then again, that's just my opinion.
That's your opinion. Okay, I got you. What do you say?
I think that it shouldn't be allowed because you're serving. You have a purpose at the church. You're supposed to be an example, and if you don't want to continue to do that, then you have the right to step out and say, I'm going to live my life. I'm going to have a wife, or I'm going to have a relationship with someone. But it's very. I think it is more damaging probably to the kids or to the younger crowd that you're telling them what to do and then you're doing they're hypocrite, you're doing the opposite of what you're telling people to do. But at the same time, like Caroline said, you're a human being, your ego gets on the way, you have all this power that is given to you, people trust you, so they're gonna come and confine on you, and then you take advantage of especially the vulnerable young ladies, most of them are, that they need someone, maybe they didn't have a father figure in their lives, and now they're looking for this persona, and that's what you are for the church. You have, they think that you have integrity, you have a place in society, you have money, so you're thinking, the young lady's thinking, wow, he's gonna marry me, wow, this is gonna happen, but it is very unfair to society.
I think there's a lot of hypocrisy in religion, and I think to the point where I think people literally are turned away from it. Like I go to church, but you will not hear me walking around being with that. Well, anytime you start to come to me with a holier than thou attitude, I'm backing right up. First of all, I don't trust people that are too holier than thou, and I've seen too much hypocrisy out there in the churches for me to go trust that somebody, I just don't trust it. And what I see in American churches, and it's where I've lived for the last 30-something years, so I see that more.
in American churches, because it's in churches, period.
Well, it's in churches, period, but let me finish what I'm saying. What I see here is that churches are being run for financial reasons. And not so much about, even though you have, in other countries, you may have things where people do make their mistakes and do wrong things. I find a lot of times churches in this country is about a business. That's my problem with that. It's about a business. It's not about anything about religion or the good of mankind. They say it, like you guys were saying, they say it, but the action is something that speaks totally different, I feel. So.
Well, let me just clarify. When I said, the person, they can say they're human, that doesn't mean that I excuse that behavior.
Right.
Because I don't think that there's any room for that. And it depends on what you're saying. You said having an affair. Is the man married, or is he just dealing with somebody in the church?
Well, a lot of times they're married.
So then that's a whole, I don't excuse any affair. Okay? That's just wrong.
But I feel even if you're not married, that you really shouldn't be doing that in the church. You know what I mean? Because it's a parishioner. How is that ever going to be a good ending? You know what I mean?
You do want to set an example for the people who are in your congregation, and you should have some respect in that way. But certain things I just don't, I don't excuse anything when it comes to an affair. It's just wrong, period.
Well, I hear what you're saying there, but I think specifically talking about the pastor thing, I think that's never a good thing.
No, it's
because
not.
I know of a pastor, for instance, who his wife was sick, died of cancer, and he eventually married a junior minister in the church. I honestly don't think they had any relationship going before.
Okay.
So I think that was different. And this happened well after a couple of years after she passed on. And I guess this is somebody he knows and walk with, and they end up getting married. I think that would be okay.
This is different than somebody who's. That's why I said if it's a person who's married and having an affair, that's kind of off limits. If the person is single and he happens to meet someone and it's a parishioner, I mean, come on, you gotta.
But then on the other side of that, they can qualify it and say, all right, Miss Jones and I, this is I'm having we're dating or whatever, and the congregation knows. Then
nobody's
that-
married, there's no
nobody's married,
scandal.
that takes away the secrecy from it, and then it's an open thing. That I have no problems with. That you can
In
do.
time, in the beginning, it's not going to happen like that.
But no, but
And most people don't want to tell their business. I can understand why you say that when it comes to the pastor, because there is that secrecy, and people will start to think.
they will start talking
Crazy
and
stuff.
and then they
Be
go
open
all
if it's
overboard.
innocent. Then be
They'll
open.
be open, and most of it happened
And-
behind closed doors.
And in the case that I described, where his wife passed and he married somebody, they were whispers of whether or not they were messing around before she passed, and I don't think they were, but there was that suspicion. So that's why I say even in that case, you still got to be careful, but I don't think there was anything scandalous there. So what's your take on that, Miss Weiss?
You don't want to hear what I have to
Well,
say.
We absolutely, definitely want to hear what you have to say.
I just don't think it's right.
okay.
I'll leave it at that. Because too much is
Yeah.
happening. Too much.
Yeah,
It's
that's a little dicey thing there.
yeah.
I just feel that, yes, the church is a microcosm of society. They're human. But I think when you're in a leadership role in a church of all places, if I want to see affairs and fooling around and this and that, I could see enough of that out in the street. I don't need to go to church to see that. You know what I mean? So I think when I go into a church, I should not expect to see somebody who's up there telling me around these things or preaching about the Ten Commandments to be doing that themselves. I think that's my issue with that.
You're right.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're going to take a break. And actually, no, we do have one more spicy dish option. No, I think we're done. We're done with spicy dish.
Yes.
So when we come back from our break, we're going to talk about our Dear Help Team topic. So we'll be right back. I'm Trish.
I'm a mountain.
I'm Irma. And I'm Caroline.
And we are the Caribbean House Talk. Okay, welcome back to Caribbean House Talk, and we're about to get into the Dear Help Team portion of our program. And today we're going to be talking about, are we a divorce culture? Are we jumping to divorce too quickly in this, not just in America, but in the world today? Are we a divorce culture? What do you think, ladies?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we are. I mean, I think years ago with our parents, they took a whole lot of crap, especially the women. You know, they tried harder to stay together as a family unit, but that whole nuclear family is pretty much it's really dissolving itself anyway. And I think when it comes to most couples, you don't have the same dependency. Back then with our parents, many of our parents, the women did not work, and so they depended on the man. So again, they took a lot of crap and they stayed together more. Now you have more women who are very independent, have their own money, have their own house or whatever, they're not going to take a lot of mess. And they're ready, you know, if you're not going to do right and you're not going to stand by me and work with me, you're out of here or I'm out of here. They will break a lot quicker, you know. So I do. I think this is a divorce culture. Also the thing about people stick together too for the children. They don't do that anymore as much. I think, you know, if I had enough, I'm going. Me, I take my kids with me. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think times have changed a lot.
You think
But it
people
also
don't
means
try
we're
as
not
much?
fighting. They're not. I don't think they try as hard either. You know, because marriage is a lot of work. And I something Irma said earlier. I think if I ever got divorced, and this will be my 30th year being married to my husband in November. If I ever got divorced, I would not do this again. Ever. And I mean it. Because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to put in that work. You have to take a lot of stuff that you just thought you never would. And that's on both sides. So people these days are just not willing, I think, to put in the work.
Especially
It's too easy.
if you, like you said, can provide well for yourself, you don't necessarily feel you have to put up with as much. So we walk a little bit more easier, and you're looking at somebody who's twice divorced, and you're going to laugh because I would say what you're saying, I would not get married again.
No,
I would not get married again. I tried to date a little bit. I did it after the first marriage. I did it a little bit after the second marriage. And right now, my thing is just to have friends that I want to hang with, because you when you get to be my age,
See what I'm saying?
I really
I had to come in here to see what they just said.
I'm coming
You
full
know what I'm
circle to what she said. It's just how, and the
Okay.
kids. There's sometimes things that think that this is not right, man. You should be out dating or and I'm saying, guys, do you
I
understand
get it.
that I spent most of my years, I've been married since I was 21 the first time. I spent 16 years in that marriage. And then I got out and I didn't realize how happy I was. But I got married again because I had to try the second time. And that's lasted 10 years. So my two marriages were not short marriages. Okay, and both produced a child. And I don't regret those marriages because I have my beautiful kids to be thankful for. But to me to see myself with a man, he's in here, I gotta cook for him, answer to him when I'm going, hell no, that is not happening. And I could say categorically, I will not, I said it before and I went back but I was still young and I wouldn't have my juju if I didn't. This shop is already shut up, so I'm not, my shop is closed up already. I'm not having kids, so we're not doing it for that. What would be the point?
Exactly.
What would be the point? But I wouldn't say I wouldn't date, but we're not going to be dating where you come in. First of all, my children can tell you, my daughter has seen me and her father married. My son and my daughter have seen me and my second husband married. They have not seen any man walk into my house or into my bedroom. Even when I dated a little bit, it was always in a respectful kind of way. We go out and have a bite or something. And this lady ain't giving up that stuff that easily, honey. Okay? I know how to take care of myself. I don't need a man to take care of that. But I'm not putting you younger women down. Let's not even get into this. But I'm saying, what would I need to talk about? So the person the people that I would hang out with are more friends. People that I talk to. People that if I need somebody to go to a function, I need somebody on my arm. Or people that, if I want somebody to travel with or do something that it would be nicer to do with a couple. Go to a movies with, go out to dinner with. That's fine. But I don't see myself with somebody in here trying to say I'm trying to get that type of relationship. Yeah. I just like my space.
So do you think
You
this
just
is a
said what
divorce
I've been
society?
saying all
I
along.
think this is
All
we're
along.
gonna get back because your question was, do we think it's a divorce society?
Yes, it's a divorce culture. I'm not gonna lie
It's definitely
because the first one I put up with is 16 years and it was horrible. It was a horrible marriage. I'm not
But
gonna
you
lie.
tried.
But I tried and
You
I
both
tried.
tried.
I tried and I tried to do it, especially for my daughter. I didn't want to do anything until she was a certain age, and it the stress damn near killed me. So eventually, I couldn't do it anymore. I got out. By the second time, I tried, but once that wasn't working, out. I'm not dealing with that. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't. My mother and my grandmother, they would have put up with a lot of stuff because they were dependent on those men for something. I'm not dependent on you.
Independent women.
I'm telling you, I'm the one that filed for divorce. After I was married for 18 years by the time the divorce was finally done, and like I said, I was not putting up with foolishness. And I tried, and then one day I got up and said, you know what? This is not working. And I went over to the lawyer and said, look, I need a divorce. And that was it. And in another time, and I think if we lived in another time, you would have tried again and tried again. But back to the question of the people now, what I think about people now, the first fight, they want a divorce. And I think that is wrong.
No, I think that's wrong.
That is wrong. People, again, yes, we're in a divorce society, but they're getting divorced too quickly.
Yeah.
The children is 6 months, a year. And as you go your way, I go mine.
Yeah.
Then what are we
Then
teaching?
I'm trying, yeah.
What are we teaching the children? The children until they're not learning any family values. They're not learning how to fight for anything. But some of the marriages, again, it goes to the extreme. You have somebody beating you up and this and that. That's a whole different story. You get out of that as fast as possible. But if you're divorcing just because you have a fight, you don't agree on something, you like red, I like blue. That is,
Yeah, some people really get in the silly season. That's true.
Some people take it to the extreme, and it goes from one extreme to the next. I think there needs to be a little bit more of a medium, a middle road, because there's so much destruction of family. Like you said, the family values are just non-existent anymore. And the one thing I can say about my ex-husband. When he was there, the kids were straight as a pin. Straight as a pin. He walked through the door, whatever they were doing was done. They cleaned up in a record time. Me, pick it up. You gotta move this. Pick it up over here. Yes, mommy, we're gonna do it.
We negotiate with them. A man doesn't negotiate.
No.
And he make it known from just his tone. You do this. There's no negotiation here, and so we can't sit down here and act like these men are not important in these children's lives.
Yes, they
Especially
are.
when you have a son or daughter. Because you're right. Both my ex-husbands, they were the disciplinarian, and so I don't think I didn't feel the pressure. You know, I mean, I had good kids, thank God, but you still felt the pressure because all of a sudden they're not listening to you as much. But I recognized that I couldn't stay in a marriage just because of the children. But you see, with my case, I had no kind of regrets because I had tried and tried and tried and tried.
As enough people
I put up with too much, if anything.
that you won't survive after divorce.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the best thing that happened to me. Because after I got divorced, I started to sew. I always wanted to sew. I went back to FIT. I sewed. Next thing I know, I'm making bags. I'm making clothes. I have my own business. And if I was married, I would not have been doing that. And so divorce to me was a great thing.
Okay.
And I ain't married nobody again.
Me either. No,
I know
I'm a girl
for
who do the
sure.
married part, but I wouldn't say I wouldn't date. Like, go have somebody date,
I
but it
wanna date.
depends on the context. You know what I mean? And not dating to live with you.
No.
And we all acting our kissy face and all that
No.
nonsense.
So what is dating then? What do you
No,
call
listen,
dating?
listen.
What is your
My relationship, my
relationship?
relationship is like to talk to you on the phone. We might go out to see a Broadway play. We go out to dinner. If I want to travel someplace. I don't want to go by myself. You'll go with me. And actually,
Would you do the thing too?
Yes, sure.
it depends. It depends.
Depends on what?
I'm not gonna lie. I might go there.
Okay.
But I don't want it to be. But I don't want it to be no regular.
That.
You're going there, so that's why I said
You
leave
know,
it alone.
I
wouldn't do
may.
it.
I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, you see, my
You mean leave it alone as
My-
leave it alone?
Listen
so
to
do
listen
it.
to this one.
Yeah.
Miss, 3 times a
I-
week. Married for 30 years, 3 times a week.
Well,
3 times a week.
he deserves it.
Exactly. He's a good one. But here's the thing. You're gonna say what you're saying now, but you might find you got a little need.
I don't think so.
Yes, you will. You're getting it. No, you don't have to need.
But I'm thinking, and this is just me in my opinion, after 3 times a week and you don't have a husband, unless something is really, really wrong with you, you're going to need it at some point in time.
Yes.
No, because you know what? My thing is, and I did.
You go cold turkey? Or you just take care of yourself?
Oh no, I could do that. I could do the cold turkey thing in a minute.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Oh, they don't know me. I'm very extreme. I could go from one to
30
the
years,
next.
you haven't been able to prove it. So.
You know what? I never say never. That's the thing. Because I
You
hear you say you're extreme, but you know what? No one knows what could happen.
Exactly.
And that is
You're
so
not happy
true.
married
It's easy
for
to
30
say
years.
Thank God.
Never,
Never,
never, but you don't know.
That is so
You don't
true.
know. You don't know.
That is so true.
You don't know. I said
But-
never, ever. There I did. I did
That
judge
is
you.
so true that you never know. Never say never, but when you make your decision and you put your mind to something, you will do it. That's
Yeah.
my thing.
There
One
will be
power
something
doesn't
sometime.
work all the time.
Like I said, it may not be you getting married, it may not be he living with you or you engaged or anything that type, but it might be occasional or, like I said, more of a companion thing. And yes, if I go with you and I feel like cuddling
I ain't
and
going with
whatever.
nobody. I ain't going with nobody. I'm going by myself.
All right, well,
If I have
let's hear from Amalfi before we close this topic.
Well, I
I don't
think
get
we
it.
have become we are a divorce society. We always think that the grass is greener on the other side. Instead of, I think that we need to concentrate on, I don't know how to say this, like, giving water to the grass that
Water
you
your
have.
own grass and get
Water
it.
your own grass, like take care of it. I was married for 17 years and I think that I did try my best and I would have done it again. But yes, we have become like instant gratification. If something doesn't go our way, we want out. Instead of sitting down and finding out what is going on with you first, because we attract what we are. What is going on with you? How can I take care of myself so that I can provide this person or understand what's going on with him? and also do the same thing together, or maybe go and see a counselor, or maybe do meditation together, or go to the gym together. We hardly talk these days, and I think technology has a lot to do with it. I think we don't try hard enough, and we don't value. What happens is we start a relationship with someone and we don't have respect for that person, and the minute we do that and we don't value them, the relationship is almost like 90% gone because you have no respect. So I think that building a great foundation where you say, you know what, even when this man, he could be handsome today, but even when he's 80 and he has a belly, bald-headed, he has something inside that I really connect with, and that's what I'm looking for. And I will get married again.
Okay. You're still young, so
Yeah, I will get married again.
And you tried it once. I say, if you, how many times you were married? Just once?
Once.
Okay. Oh my Lord.
Okay,
I'm the
once.
oddball here. Yeah.
That's it.
But here's the thing, and just what I try to tell my kids. What you have to understand is that I tried it twice. I felt I was young, I was 21, ran off to City Hall, got married, crazy kid. But I tried to give it a try the second time at a more mature age. And when that didn't work out, and in my case, both of the cases, I was the one that filed for divorce, but not because I didn't have a damn lot of reasons. I'd like at the end of my rope was like, forget it. What the hell am I going to get married again for? But for someone who's been married once and who's still a relatively young one, I say absolutely, you meet the right person. There's nothing wrong with that. At my age and with my experiences, the marriage thing is not for me.
I agree, and at my age too, the dating thing is not for me. I would not do it. I am very honest.
Well,
That's
I love my cousin-in-law, so I am hoping that you guys live until you're 90 or 100 together.
Exactly.
But God
Till
forbid.
the last part. If anything happens, no, I ain't changing my mind. I know.
We just gotta get her
We're
a
just gonna get a
robot.
robot.
We'll get a robot.
We just stick with some batteries.
We did-
That's
we-
all.
Okay,
Okay?
that worked fine.
We did-
The
we did an
flesh thing
episode.
is out the door.
We did an episode about sex robots are going to take over men in the boudoir in 2025 or something like that. So
It just might happen.
it just might happen.
You never know.
Listen, you don't even need robots. Just use the
Yeah.
tools that God
But
gave you.
the divorce thing.
That's it.
Coming back to the divorce topic. Back then, when women were taking a lot from their husbands and living up with it, it's because sometimes the husbands have other women too with them, and for them, for what I know, coming from where I come from, I know there's some women who think it was a natural thing or the normal thing for them.
It's part of
to
that
be
culture.
right? And they accept it. They would have never get a divorce because of that kind of thing. They were glad to share a man with somebody else because that's what they do. That's what they know. But now, as we get older and we come up in a different time and to our parents, we know better. We know what we want. We know how to get what we want, and we know if things not working, what we need to do. And that's why I think so much divorce is happening, because women are now coming up to the point where they are putting themselves in positions that men alone used to have, and that gives them that right and that feeling and that give me a word. Sometimes I go blank.
Yeah.
But you got me, and that is why we feel we can do it. You could do it, we can do it better, and we're not taking the nonsense. We go through it what we want to go through it, and boom, divorce. You go your way, I go mine. Sometimes we carry most of the weight. Sometimes the man carry the weight, but when they think they carry the weight, they want to add other things onto that to make us feel that we can't live without them or we can't survive without them. And that is sad. And that is why as soon as the woman get the opportunity to do it, she's gone.
You know, the thing.
So-
I'm going to move on from this topic, but the
Yeah,
thing
sure.
is, I look at it this way. I didn't, even though I was the one that was the heavier wage earner, I tried in both of those marriages because there were children, and I don't take that lightly. To my child grew up without his or her father in the home.
That's
But then there came a point where you're saying, okay, it's one thing you're not necessarily earning the income I'm earning, but you're a good husband. You know, you help with the child, you cook the food, but then I have to put up with the crap with you too.
Yeah.
Then at some point, yes, and not because I think, because I think I'm making the money, that I'm not gonna try, but it does make you at a certain point say, okay, what am I putting myself through this for? I'm not dependent on him. He's clearly not meeting my needs in one way or another. That's why we had loggerheads. And, enough is it. Enough is enough. You know what I mean? So I do think we have a divorce culture, but I think some of it is the environment that we live in terms of, like in our community, the black community, many of us might be even the bigger wage earner. You know? That's I know somebody said, I think it was you who said to me, Trish, you're intimidating woman. And I have an ego, I have a big ego. My ex-husband said to me, you have a big ego for a woman. I do have a big ego, but why you have to say for a woman?
Because they think now that women are supposed to be
certain things,
yeah.
exactly. And I'm not about to dumb myself down to make somebody else feel comfortable. So.
And a lot of us do that, put ourselves like 10 steps down there
just to
make
feel
you
comfortable.
feel that you are the man, but because you are really not the man, that's gonna come true too. And how much can you take?
Exactly.
How much?
All right, so we're going to move on from that topic. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to go into a news and note section of the program. So we'll be right back. I'm Trish.
I'm Mountie.
I'm Irma. And I'm Caroline.
And we are the Caribbean House Talk. Welcome back to Caribbean House Talk. We're now going to get into the news and notes section of the program. And today we're going to talk about Syria. We see where some Syrian civilians were gassed, and the United States responded by dropping a bomb on Syria. Does that make anybody, should we be getting involved, or should we just look the other way? It's kind of hard for America to look the other way on most things.
I don't even know who out of their heart will do something to their own people, will do something like that. I mean, not even your enemies you want to do that to. But for God forbid, children and women and young boys and young men, I mean, this is people, this is flesh. Why would you want to do that to them? I couldn't believe it. I really, really couldn't believe what I was seeing on TV. Honestly speaking, I sat there and I cried. These kids, little children, they're hosing them down, all this. It hurt my heart.
So you feel that President
that
Trump, for whatever his faults are, whatever people want to say, you felt like he had to do something?
I think as a parent, he did what he had to do. I totally supported him.
I supported him on that one.
I
don't see how a country like America can't sit there and watch that happen and not do something about it. That was horrible.
He's a human being. He's a parent. He has his ways. He is who he is, but at the same time, he's human.
But how many people think, though, let's not step around this one. How many people, no, not you. I'm saying, let's not step around, meaning I was about to just leave it at that. But I have to now face something. How many people also felt that he was under fire here, and that kind of got him off the hook?
It sure did.
It did. He used that as a front. I know that. I would say he used that as a
Because he wouldn't do
cover.
anything good.
That
on
doesn't
his own.
that
It
doesn't make him
appear
look
that way.
right.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but at the same time, I mean, 6 of one, half a dozen the next, and I know who know what I mean. It's saying know what I mean. It is what it is, and he will do what he have to do.
I'm not
do
sorry
what
he
needs
did
to
it.
be done. I'm
Right.
not sorry he did it. I'm
Right.
glad he did something.
But I
at
think
the
there was an
same
agenda.
time, it was to his benefit.
To his advantage. And
They
then
suddenly
again,
got everybody talking about it, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
they weren't talking about his son-in-law and whatever.
I know, but that's coming back though. It's
But-
gonna
but-
come
but
back.
again,
That's how
Trish,
the media works.
when you learn from this, all right, I go in, Syria did this, I go in and I bomb Syria. It gives me positive reviews in the news. So you have to wonder, what else is he going to do when the news don't go how he wants it? Who else?
Is it going to become a trend?
What is he going to do to take the heat off of this topic and bring it back to himself? Because that's all he cares about. How good he looks, what his rating is, and all of that.
Exactly.
So
That's right.
it is going to be, you have to wonder what is the next time or the next thing that's going to propel him to bomb somebody else. Because he realized from the bombing, I get good reviews. And he can't constantly bypass the Congress.
But
to go
but
bomb
he's
people.
not the first president though that has had that strategy, and I hate to say it, and that side of the fence. They
think
do
Bush-
that tendency when there is negative stuff going on at home that they would create some kind of a tension overseas to kind of distract. So I do think so I'm coming down on where I'm saying I do think that was despicable what happened in Syria. I'm not against the president or the United States doing something. I just don't feel it was done for the
right reasons.
for the right reasons. But all in all, I'm glad they did something. You know what I mean?
I feel the same.
But and the
That's
topic
how I
that
feel
he was trying to get away from is coming
It's
right
coming
back.
back. It's gonna come
Because
back.
it, in my opinion, is unless it is directly addressed and there is a concrete answer, there will be speculation, there will be investigations, and that is going to dog him for the whole 4 years. That's just my opinion. Because another thing I believe in is what goes around comes around, and he's going to get back to his own medicine.
Okay, let's talk now about North Korea. Do we think that the United States is on the verge of war with North Korea?
No, I don't think so.
I think
You think it's just one bully
I
trying to
think it's a lot of
prompting?
pumping and you know, I'm gonna do this, you do that, but realize they're doing it from a distance. I'm over here in my corner and I'm talking like when Muhammad Ali is going to fight, all the talking over here, and then Joe Frazier over there is talking all his mess, and they ain't coming anywhere. I mean, Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier fought, but I don't think they're gonna have a war.
You don't think there's gonna
Because
have
by the time at least in the United States, by the time we sit down and pay attention to the results of a nuclear bomb being dropped, you have to look at the consequences of that. Is it worth it? So I don't think we're gonna go.
They'll come back so far, but they won't come all the way here.
what about the period of time when they're not thinking? You say that you say they might think if it's worth it, but what about the period of time when they didn't even think if it's worth it?
But you know,
I am kind of on the fence about the war thing because I think something will happen. I don't know if it's a war, but something will happen.
well, there are people in place and in position to kind of rein Trump in a little bit. We're not sure who's reining the other guy, but there's people here.
He's a bully.
In
I don't think that one have
Congress,
much to rein him in, but
You
Trump,
know,
yeah.
can say, all right, you know, Donald, that is too far. Let's pull it back a bit.
But you know something? He don't seem to be listening a lot. And he's gotten away with stuff that I never saw any other president get away with.
Well, that is
You know,
true.
he had a meeting with China the other day. His daughter was in the meeting, and then she closed some big deal. I mean, how the hell does this man get away with this? You know what I mean? How does he get away with it? So I don't know, but there is still something in place that would rein him in.
Yeah.
So,
I think the Lord put him there for a reason. If it did nothing else, it woke up the country. For sure. It woke everybody up.
It's a shame.
And I think he is there because I firmly believe he has to get paid back for all the things he did to President Obama. With that butter thing. Just as he dogged him with the butter thing, Russia is going to dog him. But you know, when it comes back to you, it's always 10
it's always,
times.
yeah. And we saw how, the reason that this guy makes me uncomfortable is now nobody ever seen me go out there and protest because I feel like he was in, as far as I know, he's been elected there, people voted for him, he won, that's it.
Yeah, I'm not.
I have time with that whole protesting thing. But with this president, what I saw was when he had another set of his people under fire, he threw up the thing that Obama bugged Trump Tower. These crazy things that he just threw up just to, you know.
And then
He's so crazy. He's doing it all as a diversion. Okay.
And the media,
So
the
it's
media grabs it
once
hook, line, and sinker.
somebody's hot on you, they're
Yeah.
hot on him, and they're ready to go after him. If you notice something silly, just totally outrageous,
Oh, it's his
will
mouth,
pop
and-
up, and
you know,
then
his
people
mouth, yeah.
will festate, and they'll just sit there and start talking about that topic.
Today.
So they're doing this as a strategic move to take, make it a diversion and take the importance off of topics that really mean something by
Mhm.
bringing up these ridiculous stuff.
But the media is vulnerable.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't get it.
Well,
All right.
good news, you know.
We're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be graced with some fashion by our dear Alma Weiss, and we're gonna tell you a little bit more about Karen Harry and what this lady is famous for, and what makes her such a special lady. So we'll be right back. I'm Trish.
I'm Amalfi.
I'm Irma.
And I'm Caroline.
And we are the Caribbean House Talk. Welcome back to Caribbean House Talk, and as we promised before the break, we're going to come back with a little bit of fashion and some things, special little things that Miss Karen Harry have to share with us. So Miss Alma Weiss, you have something you want to share with the audience? We have Amalfi modeling one of your jackets. Ooh, that is absolutely gorgeous.
It's called a chocolate wave, hot chocolate wave, and it has a hood for if you just need to block the cold air out. You can wear it up or you can wear it down around your neck. And the sleeves are long and wide enough so you can wear a jacket or something under it. And that's the new one for the spring.
And it's very, very
2017,
soft.
very soft,
Mm.
faux fur, fake fur.
Okay,
And,
so it's
um,
not real, so no animal skin
No, no
involved.
animals are involved here. None.
Can it come in different colors?
Yes, yeah, it can come in different colors. You just have to put the request in, but it just happened that this is the one we have for today.
For what you had,
Yes,
chocolate
yes.
wave. That's
Okay.
very nice and
It's
appropriately
very nice.
named. That's very nice.
I'm very comfortable.
Yeah, very fashionable. Well, thank you. All right. I'm Trish.
I'm Amalfi.
I'm Irma,
And I'm Caroline.
And we are the Caribbean House Talk. Welcome back to Caribbean House Talk. And our guest host, Miss Karen Harry, have some surprises for us. We're going to talk a little bit, Karen, about what you do that makes you so special, or the work that you do so special. When we met years ago, when I first wrote my first book, and
Yes.
I did a book signing with you guys, and we kept in touch. We hadn't been in touch for a while, and finally reached out to you. And one of the things that you're famous for is doing something called memory quilts. You've actually been on TV shows showing the quilts. Tell us a little bit about memory quilts.
Okay.
What's the story behind that?
I started to do the memory quilts actually by accident. Was working in the hospital at the time, and I wanted to do quilts for babies. And I made a quilt, and I took it to the gift shop, and they said no. And I was going back to the credit union where I worked with it, and somebody from the laundry said to me, "What is that you have?" I said, "A quilt that I made." He says, "You know, my daughter's having a baby. Would you sell that to me?" And I was so stunned that somebody actually wanted to buy something. I said, "Oh yeah, sure, you can have it." And I told him, "Oh, you can have it for $40. I didn't even know what to say. And he took it, and it was the blue one. I had a pink and white and a blue and white. And he came back the next day and said, "My other daughter is having a baby, the opposite one." And she saw what her sister got, and she wants the same thing. So I sold him that one too. And then from there, somebody from another department came and says, "My mother passed away suddenly. And I heard you make quilts, and could you do something for my father?" And I'm thinking, "What?" She said, "If I bring you the clothes, can you make something for him?" I had never done that before. I didn't know anything about it.
So clothes, her clothes.
Her mother's clothes. But I said, again, you know, God works in mysterious ways. I said, "Yes, sure, bring it." And I remember going home, and I didn't know how to even start. And I said, "Lord, show me what to do with these things." And I just cut it up and made a pattern similar to this one, and I took it back to her. And it was just a throw for him to sit in the afternoon on the chair watching TV. And I got it for her, and I made it. It took me like 2 or 3 weeks, and I took it back. And she started crying in the credit union, and how it was her father would love it so much. And he did, and it's from there that it started. The next thing I knew, somebody called me again. This lady's son drowned. He was 19. And her daughter called and says, can I make something for her? And that one was really, really special. I didn't know this person at all. But the person I made the quilt for before went to bereavement group. And the guy drowned, and so I got jeans and all kinds of things. And I remember making the quilt, and the lady sent me a little picture. And I cut off the pocket part of the jeans and put the picture in. And I gave it to her, and she took it to her mother. And her mother called me and said, when I don't want to see him, I put the picture in the pocket. And there are days that I wrap myself in the quilt and look at the picture, and it's the most comforting thing. And that is really how I got started.
The memory.
So I have done over, I'd say at least 50 to 60 memory quilts already. This one is from a bunch that I did before, and somebody in the office saw it, and her father died in Florida, and it was 5 of them. And she wanted to gift her mother this quilt with his clothes, and she wanted a quilt for each of the siblings. And 2 of the siblings said, well, they didn't want any clothes with dead clothes. So I made the one for the mother, I made this one for her, and the other 2 siblings. And last week she brought this back to me because she wants me to put a special emblem on some of the squares. And she brought me a fresh set of clothes. She says, my brother looked at the quilt from my mother and says he had to have one. So I'm going to be doing that sometime next week. I'm moving, so in the near future I'm going to do this. And
So
this
let's hold this up
is
so they can see.
fits. I like to make the quilts, even though you can just make it to wrap, I like to make it so that you can put it on the bed and look at it and wrap up yourself in it if you feel like it.
Just want to give them a little.
So all of these squares is from shirts, sweaters, t-shirts, and I use whatever they bring me, and then I border it. I go to the store and I buy fabrics that match, and I border it out. So you can put it on the bed, you lay under it, whatever, because people grieve in different ways. And, you know, this brings comfort to them. So this is...
We talked about my aunt who brought me to this country. She passed away a few months, 2 months ago?
Right.
And we talked about, so I told her children to save me some clothes. And the thing is, it doesn't have to be anything new. It could be any old clothes, anything. Just save me some things. And I remember one of her daughters said, well, a lot of people, that charity wants, we want to give some of her things to charity. I said, I don't want anything fancy, anything new. Just give me pieces of her clothes. Whatever they don't want, I said, just give it to me. You know? So we have another one in the back here.
This
one is what?
This is a baby quilt. This is not from, this is just a baby quilt that I did because, again, a memory as a commemoration of a quilt. My cousin that lives in Florida called me up and says, I'm going to be a grandfather, design me something. And said, so this is getting mailed to Florida tomorrow. So I was a boy, so I got blue and white squares. And I tried to make something different. I try to make it a little bigger than a normal size baby quilt because I find they start to crawl very quickly. And you want to put them outside in summertime. So you can lay them on this and they can roll around.
And this could be used, the size of this, they could use it up to a certain age. It's not just baby. Right.
And you know, most of the people that I've made baby quilts for, because some I've made for my coworkers and given to them, one particular coworker said to me, I made a baby bag to go with it. She says, you know, the bag and the quilt, I have used that the most. It is so convenient. It goes in the stroller. It goes wherever they're going on. They're going on long trips. It's one of the best things. Then I had another lady said to me, my grandbaby got lots of quilts. For some reason, he only wants to lay them on yours. So, you know, it is, the memories are priceless. What people say is really priceless. I did one the other day for somebody that died from a heroin overdose. And it was, again, from something that I did, somebody saw. And in the clothes came a pair of jeans. And I took the jeans and I made a pocketbook which in turn the little girl was able to take and go away to college while the mother kept the quilt to remember the son.
Wow, wonderful.
So,
These are beautiful.
What size are your squares? What size squares?
4.5.
4.5 by 4. Okay.
but it comes at 4 inches because then you need the half inch seam
Okay,
allowance.
so 4 by 4.
So have you done quilts, Mama?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Not like
Sound
this.
like you know what you're
I do
talking
the
about.
whole cloth quilt. I do I do bed in the form of a bedspread.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
But no.
Well, thank
no-
you very much, Karen. These are beautiful and a wonderful idea. Well, thank you very much for joining us on this edition of Caribbean House Talk. As we say, we cover things from funny to curious to tearfully serious. And we thank you for joining us on this edition. And we look forward to seeing you on future edition. Thank you. Bye-bye.